I know you're tired. Let me help you find your peace. Tonight, we escape to the dreams of ancient kings. Listen closely. Let your mind drift. Selene and Endymion. Now we are transported to where time has no power. Ancient Greece. Evening arrives here in a special way. It is not just darkness, it is a living creature. Imagine the sun slowly sinking into the embrace of the sea, leaving delicate streaks of purple, pink, and deep blue in the sky. The air becomes cool, yet it remains gentle, like the touch of silk fabric against the skin. You hear the last birds falling silent somewhere in the distance, replaced by the majestic silence of olive groves. The leaves of the trees turn silver in the last fading rays. You feel the scent of warmed earth mixed with the subtle aroma of sea salt and night flowers that bloom only when the world falls asleep. Imagine this moment, the moment between day and night, when everything living stands still in anticipation of a miracle. You breathe in rhythm with this evening. Inhale, and you take in the peace of the ancient mountains. Exhale, and the last anxiety dissolves into the dark sky. You are ready to listen. You are ready to see. You are ready for sleep. And now, allow your imagination to rise a little higher, to where the cliffs of Mount Latmos touch the sky itself. Imagine these slopes. They are neither sharp nor cold. They are covered in thick, velvety moss that has absorbed all the warmth of the southern sun during the day. Feel this warmth beneath your palms. Imagine touching this soft, living carpet. It springs beneath your fingers, giving a sense of comfort, as if the earth itself wants to embrace you. You feel your own body becoming just as soft and yielding. Every muscle, every fiber relaxes, surrendering to this ancient mountain peace. The air here is not just transparent, it is like silk. Feel how it touches your face. It is a light, barely perceptible touch of cool night mist, mixing with the warm breath of heated stones. You inhale this cocktail of scents, thyme, sage, and distant sea salt, and with every breath, your head becomes clear and your thoughts transparent as mountain dew. And here, in the very heart of this silence, we see young Endymion. Look at him more closely. He lies with his arms outstretched, as if embracing the earth itself. His skin, golden from the daytime sun, now in the twilight, seems cast from soft mother of pearl. His curly hair, the color of dark honey, is scattered across the grassy pillow, resembling a crown woven by the night itself. Look at his face. His eyelashes, long and thick, cast soft shadows on his cheekbones. His lips are slightly parted, as if he is about to whisper the name of his dream, yet he remains in sweet numbness. He is the embodiment of pure serenity. In every line of his body, in every curve of his fingers, there is such an absence of tension that it is passed on to you. You look at him and feel your own weight vanishing. You become weightless, like down drifting in the wind. You see how evenly his chest rises. Inhale, and the world around becomes quieter. Exhale, and you sink into this state along with him. Around him reigns a silence that can only be heard in the mountains. It is a silence that has its own sound, the barely audible gurgle of a spring flowing down the rocks like molten silver. Hear this sound, drop by drop, rhythmically, soothingly. The water breaks against the stone with a soft whisper, washing away all your worries, leaving only the sense of an infinite, safe, warm now. You stand beside him. You feel that his sleep is a quiet sea, and you are ready to let its waves catch you and carry you to where there is no fear, where there is no time. Only the soft glow of the stars and the scent of the night mountains. Now, my dears, look away from the earthly grasses and gaze upward to where the black velvet of the sky turns into a bottomless ocean of indigo. Do you see how a barely noticeable tremor is born at the very edge of the horizon? This is not just light, it is a premonition of a divine presence. From behind the clouds, like whipped cream, a silver chariot slowly emerges. It seems forged not from metal, but from interwoven moonbeams and frozen mist. Its wheels do not touch the air. They glide across the invisible surface of the ether, leaving behind a trail of shimmering stardust. Imagine these horses. They are whiter than the purest snow on the peaks of Olympus. Their manes are long strands of molten silver, scattering in the night silence like light feathers. Every movement of theirs is the grace of eternity itself. They do not neigh, they do not stomp, they breathe coolness, and their breath turns into high, transparent clouds floating above the earth. And in the chariot, holding reins of pure light, she stands, Selene, the goddess of the moon. Her face is perfectly calm, carved from the finest white marble, yet living and warm. On her forehead shines a golden diadem in the shape of a slender crescent moon, emitting a soft, pulsing radiance that dispels the darkest shadows. Her eyes are two deep mirror lakes. There is no anxiety in them, only the infinite wisdom of the night. When she looks at the world, it seems that all living things receive a blessing for rest. Her attire is a masterpiece of heavenly weavers. Long robes the color of mother of pearl fall to her feet, shimmering with all shades of silver, lilac, and pale blue. Every movement of hers is accompanied by a barely audible rustle, like the sound of quiet waves breaking against the sand. Look at how Mount Latmos changes under her gaze. The grass beneath the sleeping Endymion's feet begins to glow from within, as if a tiny star has awakened in every blade. The night jasmine flowers, which were closed before, slowly open their petals, offering them up to the moon shower. They smell even sweeter now, even thicker. Feel this scent. It is the aroma of divine presence, a mixture of stellar freshness, white flowers, and sweet peace. Selene descends from her chariot. Her feet, barely touching the air, create circles of light as if she is walking on water. She approaches the cave, and the shadows within it become transparent and gentle. She leans over Endymion, and her long hair, shining like the Milky Way, touches his shoulders. Feel this moment with them. The world around has become weightless. You no longer feel the resistance of the air. You are part of this silver haze. You dissolve in the beauty of the goddess, in her peace, in her infinite love for this sleeping world. Your heart beats slowly, in unison with the pulsing of the moonlight. All that is unnecessary has vanished. Only silence, silver, and you remain. Now, my dears, let us completely dissolve into this space. Forget about images and faces. Feel the very essence of this cave, which has become a cradle for eternal sleep. Here, in the very heart of Mount Latmos, the air carries a special weight. It is motionless, but not stagnant. It is fresh, saturated with the subtle scents of damp stone, wild jasmine, and the sweet nectar of night flowers that bloom only when the stars reach their zenith. Feel this space around you. Imagine the cave walls. They are neither cold nor gloomy. They are covered in a thin layer of soft, silvery lichen that phosphoresces faintly in the darkness. You can reach out and touch this wall. It feels like velvet that has retained the daytime warmth of the rocks. Beneath your feet is not hard stone, but a thick carpet of dry olive leaves mixed with soft moss. Every imaginary step of yours sinks into this softness without making a single sound. Here reigns a silence comparable only to the silence of deep space. But this silence is alive. See how Selene's moonlight behaves in this place. It does not just shine, it pours like thick, transparent honey. It fills every corner of the cave, settling on the rocky ledges as tiny sparks of dew. The light envelops the figure of the young man lying on a bed of herbs. He is not just a person now, he is a part of this grotto. His stillness is so deep that he seems an extension of the mountain itself, an ancient relief that has decided to rest for 1,000,000 years. Listen to the rhythm of this place. Do you hear a drop of water falling deep inside the mountain? Drip, drip. It is the only clock that exists here. It does not count minutes. It only emphasizes the infinity of peace. Every drop dissolves in the silence, making your relaxation even deeper. Time in this cave has become thick, like mist over the sea. It envelops you, lifting the last tension from your shoulders. Feel how the boundaries of your body become blurred. You become part of these warm stones, this soft moss, this silver radiance. You breathe along with the mountain, slowly, calmly. Inhale, and you absorb eternity. Exhale, and you give all your thoughts to the world. In this cradle of eternity, there are no anxieties. There is no noise of cities here, no duties, no rush. Only the soft glimmer of a moonbeam on the wall and an infinitely sweet, safe sleep. You are under the protection of the goddess of night herself. She has closed the door to this world, leaving outside everything that could disturb you. You are sinking into this silence. It is warm. It is cozy. It has been waiting for you. Sleep. Feel how the world around you becomes a weightless silver haze. And now, feel how the entire cave begins to breathe along with them. Selene is no longer just standing nearby. She leans over Endymion, and this movement is like the evening mist descending onto the mirror-like surface of a lake. Imagine this moment, her long silvery hair, shining with thousands of cold sparks, slowly falls downward. The strands touch his shoulders, his arms, blending with the grass and moss. This is not just a touch, it is an embrace from the moon itself. Feel this contrast, the light coolness of her divine being meets the gentle warmth of his deep, living sleep. She reaches out her hand. Her fingers, slender and transparent as crystal, stop just a millimeter from his forehead. She does not touch his skin, but a barely perceptible glow is born between her palm and his face. Feel this impulse. It is pure peace flowing from her to him. She whispers, not with words, but with her very heart. She promises him that the world will never disturb his rest, that the noise of wars, the cries of cities, and the flow of time will never cross the threshold of this cave. Look at how Endymion reacts to her presence. He does not wake, no, but his breathing becomes even deeper, even sweeter. His lips tremble slightly in a smile, as if he felt this weightless kiss of a moonbeam. In this moment, they become one. Night and silence, light and sleep. Feel this interaction yourself. Imagine that Selene is now standing at the head of your bed as well. Feel her place her invisible silver palm on your forehead, washing away all thoughts, all plans for tomorrow, and all anxieties of the past. All that remains is a sense of boundless love and care. The moonlight begins to pulse in time with your heart. Inhale, and the room fills with a soft radiance. Exhale, and the light becomes thick, cozy, and lulling. The goddess grants him eternity, and to you, this night. She envelops your bed with the very same magic she has used to envelop Endymion for thousands of years. Do you hear the rustle of her dress? It is a sound like a quiet tide. Do you hear her breathing? It is the sound of the night wind in the crowns of the olive trees. She is here. She is guarding your sleep. You become weightless. You dissolve in this embrace of light. The boundary between you and this story vanishes. You are this peace. You are this eternal, sweet sleep under the gaze of the silver goddess. Selene, goddess of the moon, looked upon thousands, but only Endymion possessed a sleep so pure it brightened the night. Fearing that time and earthly cares would eventually wither his inner peace, she chose to guard his innocence forever. Ascending to Olympus, she asked Zeus not for the weariness of active immortality, but for the gift of sleep. With a touch of his scepter, time in Endymion's cave became a motionless mirror. Inside this silver cocoon, a dewdrop stayed forever poised on a jasmine petal, and a butterfly slept midair. Outside, empires fell and epochs changed, but here it remained an eternal now. Every night, Selene descends to protect him, a love that demands nothing but his serenity. This is the highest happiness, knowing you are safe enough for the world to stop just so you can rest. Tonight, this legend is yours. Your room is that cave, your bed a couch of herbs. You are Endymion. There is no rush, no decisions, and no tomorrow. Time has stopped, and Selene's silver veil envelops you in divine numbness and eternal peace. Sink into this dream where only the scent of mountains and the infinite tenderness of the night remain. Eros and Psyche, secret love in the dark. It was a time when the world was bathed in a different kind of light, a soft amber glow that seemed to linger on the surface of the sea and the marble of the temples. In this world there lived a princess named Psyche, a mortal maiden whose beauty was so profound, so deeply ethereal, that the very air seemed to hush whenever she entered a room. Her skin had the luster of polished moonstone, and her eyes held the quiet depth of a mountain lake at twilight. Words seemed to melt away like wax near a flame when poets tried to describe her, leaving only a breathless silence in their wake. Her presence was like the softest, earliest glow of dawn, a gentle radiance that captured the hearts of everyone who looked upon her calm and quiet face. People from distant, dusty lands would travel for many weary weeks, crossing sun-scorched plains and sapphire seas, just to catch a single, fleeting glimpse of her grace. They neglected the grand altars of the immortal gods, leaving the marble cold just to stand in the shadow of her natural, mortal beauty. Yet, this immense fame brought her only a deep, echoing loneliness, setting her apart from the laughter of the markets and the warmth of the crowds. She was like a lonely star, glowing softly in the vast, velvet expanse of the night sky, admired by many, but touched by none. While her sisters found love and moved away to bright, noisy homes, Psyche remained in the stillness of her chamber, listening to the gentle, rhythmic sighing of the wind against the stones. She waited in the silence, watching the dust motes dance in the sunbeams, waiting for a destiny she could not yet understand or name. The fame of Psyche's beauty eventually drifted on the wind until it reached the golden, jealous ears of Venus, the goddess of love and beauty herself. Filled with a cold, heavenly envy that felt like the winter sea, Venus could not endure that a mere mortal was adored more than her own divine and perfect self. She summoned her son, the winged god Eros, whose arrows were tipped with the fire of desire and the weight of longing. She whispered into his ear, her voice like the hiss of a serpent in the grass, asking him to make Psyche fall in love with the most monstrous, wretched creature on the earth. But when Eros arrived at Psyche's bedside and saw her lying there, sleeping as peacefully as a quiet forest pool, his own heart faltered. In the dim light of her room, he was accidentally pricked by his own golden arrow, a tiny sting that changed the course of the stars. In that moment of silent, breathless wonder, he fell deeply and hopelessly in love with her, vowing that no harm would ever come to her delicate and dreaming soul. Not long after, obeying a strange and chilling command from an ancient oracle, Psyche was taken to a high, lonely mountain peak. As she stood there, shivering in the cool, thin mountain air, she felt the approach of Zephyrus, the softest and kindest of all the winds. He did not blow with force, but arrived like a warm exhale, lifting her slowly and wrapping her in a thick blanket of invisible, supportive air. She floated down from the jagged, rocky heights, drifting like a fallen petal through the clouds until she reached a beautiful, secluded valley hidden from the eyes of men. Psyche woke up in this new valley, resting on a soft, deep bank of fragrant moss that felt like the finest green velvet under her hands. The air was filled with the scent of crushed wildflowers and the sweet damp smell of a nearby waterfall. Standing before her was a magnificent palace, its walls built of pure, shimmering gold and ivory that glowed with an inner light. The roof seemed to be supported by pillars of solid, unblinking light, and the floors were made of gemstones that felt cool and smooth against her tired feet. As she ventured inside, moving through vast, echoing halls that smelled softly of lavender, sandalwood, and ancient honey, she realized she was alone. Yet, she did not feel afraid, for the palace felt warm and welcoming like a home she had once visited in a forgotten dream. Soon, gentle, bodiless voices began to ripple through the air, whispering to her with the sound of rustling silk and silver bells. They welcomed her to her new sanctuary, assuring her that everything she saw, the gold, the gardens, the silence, was hers to enjoy forever. Invisible hands, as light as a memory, attended to her every need, preparing a warm bath scented with the most precious oils of the Orient. She feasted on the finest fruits, their juice sweet and cooling, and drank nectar that tasted of summer afternoons and starlight. She spent her days exploring the quiet, endless rooms, listening to the soothing melodies played by an invisible orchestra that seemed to float in the very air around her. Every comfort was hers, every hidden desire met in this peaceful, enchanted place where the clocks were silent and time seemed to stand completely still. When the darkness of night finally draped its heavy indigo curtain over the valley, a deeper stillness descended upon the magnificent palace. In the velvety absolute blackness of her chamber, Psyche felt the air change, becoming warm and charged with a gentle electricity. A presence moved beside her, and she heard a voice that sounded like the sweetest music she had ever heard, a sound that vibrated deep within her chest. This was her new husband, the god Eros. Though she did not know his name or the divine shape of his face, he visited her only in the protective, secretive hours of the night, when the world was blind and only the heart could see. He spoke to her in soft, loving whispers that felt like a warm breeze against her skin, telling her stories of the stars and the hidden corners of the world. His touch was as gentle as the brush of a moth's wing, filling her soul with a serene, unshakable joy she had never known. Their love blossomed in the quiet darkness, built on the steady rhythm of their breathing and the profound peace of their shared secret world. Eros made her promise over and over again in the hush of the night that she must never try to look upon his face with her mortal eyes. He warned her that sight would shatter the magic of their union, destroying their perfect happiness like a dream at daybreak. And for a long, blissful time, Psyche was content, living in this dreamlike state of love and comfortable, sheltering darkness. She asked for nothing more than the sound of his voice and the warmth of his hand in the dark, finding a home in the mystery. But, driven by a growing curiosity and the sharp, jealous whispers of her sisters, Psyche one night chose to break her sacred promise. While Eros slept soundly beside her, his breath steady and calm, she lit a small bronze oil lamp with a trembling hand. The tiny flame flickered to life, casting long dancing shadows across the room and illuminating his face for the very first time. She did not see a monster or a beast, but the most beautiful of all the gods, with golden curls that shone like sunbeams and dazzling white wings. His skin radiated a gentle, divine light that seemed to banish every fear she had ever held. Mesmerized by his perfection, her hand shook with a sudden, overwhelming emotion, and a single drop of hot oil fell from the lamp. It landed on his smooth, immortal shoulder, and Eros woke with a cry of pain and the heavy heart of someone betrayed. Seeing the light, he instantly took flight, his wings beating against the air as he disappeared into the vast dark night sky, leaving Psyche alone. Yet, after many long trials, through valleys of shadow and mountains of grief, Psyche was eventually reunited with her beloved god. Jupiter, the king of all the gods, moved by their unyielding devotion, granted Psyche the gift of immortality. She drank the sweet golden nectar of the gods, and her soul was finally made whole. And so Eros and Psyche were united forever, drifting together in a serene, endless embrace among the silver stars. Their story remains a testament to the idea that love and the soul can never be truly separated by time or space. Sleep now and dream of this eternal, unshakable peace, safe in the knowledge that true love always finds its way home. Morpheus and the Valley of Eternal Slumber. Beyond the edges of the waking world, where the sharp lines of reality begin to blur and soften, there lies a hidden valley tucked away in the deepest folds of the Cimmerian mountains. In this sacred place, the sun has never dared to touch the ground, for it is a kingdom ruled by the softest shadows and the silver mists of eternal twilight. Here, the air is thick and heavy, like a velvet blanket that presses gently against your skin, carrying the cool, damp breath of an ancient earth. No birds disturb the silence of this valley, and no wind ever rustles the leaves of the weeping willows that stand like mourning guardians along the riverbanks. Through the very heart of this stillness flows the river Lethe, the water of forgetfulness, moving with a sound so faint it is like the distant, rhythmic sigh of a sleeping giant. The water is dark and smooth as obsidian, swirling in slow hypnotic circles around moss-covered stones that have forgotten their own names. As you stand by the bank, the low murmur of the river begins to wash away the noise of your day, inviting you to let go of every memory and sink into the profound, cool embrace of the deep. Near the entrance of the great cavern, the earth is covered in a dense carpet of tall, heavy-headed poppies that sway in a breeze only they can feel. These are not ordinary flowers. Their petals are the color of crushed wine and bruised silk, exhaling a thick, numbing fragrance that turns the mind toward a blissful slumber. To touch one of these blooms is to feel the weight of 1,000 quiet nights pressing against your eyelids, pulling you down toward the soft, fragrant earth. The poppies drink from the silver mists of the valley, their roots reaching deep into a soil made of silence and starlight. As you imagine yourself walking among them, you can feel the warmth leaving your worries, drifting away like gray smoke into the darkening sky above. The scent is a lullaby for the senses, a soft floral whisper that promises you the day is finally over, and the time for dreaming has arrived at last. Each bloom holds a tiny piece of peace, waiting to be gathered and tucked under your pillow as you drift further away from the light of the world. Deep within the heart of the mountain, where the silence is so absolute you can hear the pulse of the earth, lies the secret grotto of Morpheus. There are no gates here, no creaking hinges or heavy locks, for no noise is allowed to pierce the sanctuary of rest. In the center of the hall stands a magnificent bed made of solid midnight black ebony, its surface polished until it reflects the flickering shadows like a dark mirror. The bed is draped in layers of silk and fur, the colors of a starless sky, inviting you to lose yourself in their infinite softness. Here lies Morpheus, the master of shapes, resting in a sleep so deep that time itself seems to slow down and pool around him like honey. His breathing is slow and steady, a rhythmic wave that echoes softly against the smooth stone walls of his mountain home. Around him, the Oneiroi, his brothers and children of the night, flit like tiny moths, waiting to take the forms of your most beautiful thoughts. The darkness here is warm and protective, a heavy cloak that shields you from the frantic noise and flickering lights of the upper world. Morpheus does not merely sleep. He is the architect of the soul's secret travels, weaving the gossamer threads of your subconscious into grand tapestries of wonder. With a gentle, effortless movement of his hand, he can turn a simple memory into a vast, golden landscape or a flight through the highest clouds. He takes the forms of those who bring you comfort, speaking in voices that sound like a warm hearth on a winter's night. Around his ebony couch, dreams drift like iridescent bubbles, some shimmering with the joy of discovery, others quiet and pale, like the moon reflecting on a frozen lake. He chooses the perfect vision for your tired heart, tailoring the night to provide exactly what you need to heal and grow. As he shapes the air with his long, graceful fingers, the cave glows with a faint, magical light that dances across the ceiling like the aurora borealis. You are safe in his kingdom, for he is the guardian of your spirit, ensuring that your journey through the night is one of absolute beauty and profound serenity. Morpheus does not merely sleep. He is the architect of the soul's secret travels, weaving the gossamer threads of your subconscious into grand tapestries of wonder. With a gentle, effortless movement of his hand, he can turn a simple memory into a vast, golden landscape or a flight through the highest clouds. He takes the forms of those who bring you comfort, speaking in voices that sound like a warm hearth on a winter's night. Around his ebony couch, dreams drift like iridescent bubbles, some shimmering with the joy of discovery, others quiet and pale like the moon reflecting on a frozen lake. He chooses the perfect vision for your tired heart, tailoring the night to provide exactly what you need to heal and grow. As he shapes the air with his long, graceful fingers, the cave glows with a faint, magical light that dances across the ceiling like the aurora borealis. You are safe in his kingdom, for he is the guardian of your spirit, ensuring that your journey through the night is one of absolute beauty and profound serenity. Now, the river Lethe calls to you one last time, its murmuring voice growing louder as the world of men fades into a tiny, distant spark. You are drifting on a small wooden boat floating slowly toward the center of the cave, where the shadows are thickest and the air is sweetest. The water ripples softly against the wood, a repetitive, hypnotic sound that lulls you deeper into your pillows. The mist is closing in around you, soft and cool, washing away the vibrant colors and sharp sounds of the waking day. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to think about, and nowhere else you need to be but here, in this perfect, dark stillness. Feel the weight of your body sinking down, becoming one with the ebony bed and the scent of the crimson poppies. Close your eyes. Let your breath match the slow, ancient rhythm of the god of dreams and surrender your spirit to the night. Sleep now, for the cave of Morpheus is open, and a beautiful, endless dream is waiting just for you.